to you by Penguin.
The Tea Planter's Wife by Dinah Jefferies, read by Avita Jay. Prologue. Ceylon, 1913. The woman held a slim white envelope to her lips. She hesitated for a moment longer, pausing to listen to the achingly sweet notes of a distant Sinhalese flute. She considered her resolve, turning it over as she would a pebble in her palm, then sealed the envelope and propped it against a vase of wilting red roses. The antique ottoman stood at the end of the four-poster bed. Made from dark wood, its sides were covered in satin moiré with a padded leather lid. She lifted the lid, took out her ivory wedding dress, and draped it over the back of a chair, wrinkling her nose at the sickly scent of mothballs. She selected a rose, broke off the bloom, and glanced at the baby, glad that he still slept. At her dressing table, she raised the flower and held it against her fair hair. Such fine threads of silk, he had always said. She shook her head and let the flower go. Not today. On the bed, the baby's clothes were already placed in random piles. With the tips of her fingers, she touched a freshly laundered matinee jacket, remembering the hours she'd spent knitting until her eyes had stung. Lying beside the clothing were sheets of white tissue paper. Without further delay, she folded the little blue jacket, placed it between two sheets of the paper, and carried it to the zinc-lined ottoman, where she laid it at the bottom. Each item was folded, placed between tissue, and then added to the other layers of woolly hats, booties, nightgowns, and romper suits. Blue, white, blue, white. Last of all were the muslin squares and terry napkins. These she folded edge to edge, and then, when it was done, she surveyed her morning's work. Despite what it meant, she did not blanch at the sight. Another glance at the baby's fluttering lashes signalled that he would be waking soon. She'd need to be quick. The dress she had chosen for herself was made from oriental silk in vivid sea green, slightly raised above the ankles and with a high-waisted sash. This had been her favourite dress sent over from Paris. She'd worn it the night of the party, the night she was certain the child had been conceived. She paused again. Might wearing it be viewed as a bitter attempt to wound? She couldn't be sure. She loved the colour. That's what she told herself. Above all, it was the colour. The baby whimpered and began to fret. She glanced at the clock, lifted the child from his crib, and sat in the nursing chair by the window, feeling a light breeze cooling her skin. Outside, the sun was high in the sky and the heat would be building. Somewhere in the house, a dog barked, and from the kitchens came the heady scents of cooking. She opened her nightgown to reveal a pale, marbled breast. The baby nuzzled and then latched on. A fine, strong jaw he had, so much so that her nipples were cracked and raw, and, in order to bear the pain, she was forced to bite her lip. To distract herself, she glanced around her room. In each of its four corners, memories had attached themselves in the form of objects. The carved footstool that had come from the north, the bedside lampshade she had sewn herself, the rug from Indochina. As she stroked the baby's cheek, he stopped feeding, lifted his free hand, and, in one heartbreakingly beautiful moment, his delicate fingers reached for her face. That would have been the moment for tears. When she had winded him, she laid him on the bed, wrapped in a soft crocheted shawl, and, once dressed, she cradled him with one arm and took a last look round. With her free hand, she closed the lid of the ottoman, threw the abandoned rose in a lacquered wastepaper basket.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?